All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to yet another live stream bringing you the latest in Chelsea news. Big up to each and every one of you guys that has joined in. You might have already been watching All You Can Eat Chelsea. It was another fantastic episode. A lot of things to take in, a lot of things to marinate, and yeah, I'm at a stage where it is a bit clouded. It is a bit clouded in my head. That episode at All You Can Eat Chelsea was probably one of the very few episodes where I probably didn't speak that much. Not because I purposely didn't do that. It was more that I'm not really sure how I feel about the entire situation as yet. And I don't want to be angry anymore. I think all the anger, I think all the disappointment, I think all those feelings have been, for me, I don't know about you guys, it's been extrapolated out of me. So I'm at a situation, what I can say is that I think more than ever, I have to now trust the process. More than ever. Long-term contract potentially for Enzo Maresca. One thing's for certainty, the whole me wanting Roberto De Zerbi, that's a distant memory, because we all know Enzo Maresca is going to be the manager. And at least one thing we can say is that he also has a set of principle. He also has a certain brand of football, a certain philosophy where it's not chaotic. It's far more controlled. It's far more, decisive. Hopefully, that's how it translates to the team. So, with everything that has happened over the last 24 hours, as I said, it looks like it is going to be Enzo Maresca. It looks like here are the facts. Joe Shields is been one of the biggest contributor to acquiring this manager. He's putting some very good words in regards to him. Of course, at the end of the day, the two directors, Winston Lee and Lawrence Stewart, and of course the owners, they all have to sign. It's not just on the two directors. The owners will have to buy in as well. And it looks like they've all now aligned and they've all bought in. And it's almost done. It's almost done. As per Fabrizio Romano's latest tweet, it is almost done. Chelsea's just simply now talking to Leicester in regards to the final compensation for Enzo Maresca. So those are the facts. It is a long-term contract potentially. And it tells me that this is it. It tells me that for the first time under the new directors, not what the owners did with Graham Potter, because the directors were not there. Under the new directors, for the first time, I think they've now put all chips. They've gone all in. It seems like, supposedly, that they have done extensive research. They've done research so much so that even people outside of the sporting directors, in the likes of Joe Shields, they've also provided their opinion on the managerial selection. So it looks like this time, supposedly, that it has been an exhaustive interview process. They have looks like they've not, unturned any rocks. Do you know what I mean? Like they've literally have covered everything this time. So when I think from that perspective, it makes me think that they believe in this guy. They truly believe in Enzo Maresca. And I think this time they will not chop and change anymore. I don't think they will chop and change anymore. I think this time they will be patient. I think this time, whenever there is a little adversity, whether it's little, whether it's prolonged, they're not going to just feel pressured and sort of succumb to the fans' pressure. I think this time they're gonna stay honest and true, and I'm hoping that that's what they do. A lot of people are saying that, oh, what do we expect? What do we expect from this particular manager? I don't know. I don't know. The logical thing is we finished sixth last season that just finished, and that was off a lackluster season. And you'd think that the team is somewhat ready to progress towards top four at least. But it is a whole new manager again. It is a different brand of football. This isn't going to be Poch football. This is going to be a different brand of football. It all comes down to how quickly the players buy into Enzo Maresca's philosophy. And it's also going to be down to how quickly can Enzo Maresca convince the players to buy into his philosophy. That's where it all comes down to. If the players wholeheartedly, if the players return back, once they return back from their holidays and once they return back from their Euros, European competition and their Copa Americas, once they return back, if they can come in with a fresh mind and not have that residual disgruntled sense of Pochettino leaving, then hopefully they can move on quick. But if they come in and not feeling comfortable because it's another new manager, it's again, they're going to have to, work on their relationship and get to know the manager and build a certain level of trust, which they have to anyway, which they will. But if they don't wholeheartedly open up for that situation, then it's going to be difficult. So, few things that I'm hoping for. I hope Enzo Maresca is quite direct. I hope it's not just about being friends with the players. Of course, you do need to have certain level of camaraderie. Of course you do. But I hope it's not just about being friends with them and that there is an important task ahead of us. I hope he's able to lay out a blueprint. I hope he's able to lay out a plan for the upcoming season where he can convince the players to buy in. I hope the players can come in with an open mind and forget what has happened last season with Pochettino and move on with this new manager and be open about everything. So those are the first few things I'm hoping, because they're very, very important. Before you can even people talk about tactics, people talk about, how players are going to be deployed, this, that, the other. Those things will happen once there is trust. If there's no trust, if there's no feel that I wanna work hard for this club and I want to work hard for this team and I want to work hard for this manager, then it doesn't matter any of these tactical side of things. First, all of these, intangibles, they've got to work out. So that's the base point. The second point that I want to touch base on is that Enzo Maresca will, from the get-go, he will have to figure out who are the players that are not going to fit in his style of football. He'll have to figure that out from the get-go. And how he deals with those players. He's got to be able to be strong-minded and strong-willed in regards to that. And he has to have the backing of the sporting directors and the owners. Everyone needs to have the backing. And I'm pretty sure they're going to talk about all of this. And if they haven't talked about all of this, and if I see next season there is some level of, issues materializing between players and the manager and so on and so forth, I will be upset. I will be upset. Obviously, we have the usual suspects of Gallagher and potentially even Chalobah. They'll have to let go of Gallagher. Definitely, I don't think Gallagher fits Enzo Maresca's football. So he, regardless of pure profit or whatnot, he will have to go. Gallagher will have to go, regardless of that. Chalobah, you could argue that maybe he could fit Enzo Maresca's football. Maybe Chalobah is not some novice on the ball. However, he may be decided to be let go of because of pure profit. So those usual suspects, the pure profit suspects, they'll probably have to go anyway. But I'm more talking about the players like Ben Chilwell, potentially Mudryk. I wonder how Enzo Maresca will tackle those situations. I wonder how he's going to. Is he going to try and force to fit them in? And I hope Enzo Maresca, throughout this interview process, and there's been some words that apparently he has laid out a complete detail of every player's strengths and weaknesses. I hope in that interview that nothing is a surprise moving forward to the next season, because one of the biggest things that Pochettino probably had, one of the issues, is that we saw too many like surprises. I think the sporting directors never felt that Gallagher should be part of the team. Yet Pochettino made Gallagher one of the most important players in the team. So I think that might have been a bit of a surprise for the sporting directors. I think another surprise would have been during Pochettino's time is obviously Enzo Fernandez, how off he looked under Pochettino. Obviously, Enzo Fernandez had injuries as well, no problems. I understand that. But overall, Enzo Fernandez wasn't really a Poch type of a player. These sort of surprises cannot happen under Enzo Maresca. I'm sorry. Because all of these things should have been hashed out, should have been explained in details, and should be agreed upon in the interview. Now, when the season starts, obviously the season can itself bring a whole heap of different surprises. Some players that you probably thought might not have worked out for you ends up working out for you. I fully understand that. You have to be open for adjustments. But I hope all of a sudden there isn't any huge surprises that, let's say for argument's sake, Gallagher is now being utilized by Enzo Maresca because he thinks all of a sudden that he's an important player. I've just taken a very extreme example, but I'm saying that there shouldn't be any huge surprises. Everything should have already been talked about in the interview. And then it should be carried out to the players who are not part of the plan. And I hope Enzo Maresca can be ruthless like that. I don't want to see misprofiling of players. I don't want to see players being, shooed in certain roles because, they hold certain value in the football club. If they don't fit, they don't fit. That's number one. So the next thing that I want to talk about is, by the way, let me do a few of these super chat. Valan, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. I have zero expectations with Maresca. Whenever we lose, I'm blaming the sporting directors. Maresca is shielded. Directors are going to stand at firing line. Let's talk a little bit about this. Look, what are we expecting? I mean, a lot of people are saying it's got to be top four. It's got to be top four. If it's not top four, then it's not on Maresca. It's on the sporting directors. Look, so far what we've understood is that our owners really like these sporting directors. They do. Just the way they want to build a young team, just the way they want to build a young manager, they want to build these young and somewhat inexperienced directors as well. I don't think there's going to be any chop and change. I truly don't think there's going to be any chop and change. Unless Enzo Maresca fails gargantually. Unless Maresca ends up getting us 10th, 11th, 12th. If that happens, then potentially Enzo Maresca is probably going to get sacked along with the sporting directors. But if Enzo Maresca ends up coming 5th and he shows a certain brand of football, or even if he ends up coming 6th and he shows a certain brand of football, I don't think things will change. I think things will stay how it is and they'll build on that. And to be honest, this is why I'm saying for the first time ever, you have to trust the process. You have to. You have to. So if you have an expectation that it has to be top 4 or XYZ has to happen, I'm sorry, you are only setting yourselves up to be disappointed. Even if we don't get top 4 and we get 5th or 6th, don't expect anything to change. And honestly, in my personal opinion, I would have said the same thing for Roberto De Zerbi if he was in charge as well. We cannot for the first time keep chopping and changing anymore. We have apparently done our due diligence and done extensive research on this manager. We have to stay true to him. We have to. Unless, as I said, he fails unbelievably. Shaky Lucky, thank you so much for the super chat. If he stayed, in which position do you see them? If he stayed, in which position do you see? I don't understand. What do you mean by that, Shaky Lucky? If he stayed, in which position? I don't really get it. I'm not really sure what you mean by that. Jam, thank you so much for the super chat. I blindly supported Poch after not wanting him appointed. Not this time around. This manager will have to earn my trust because I wanted De Zerbi. Look, as I said, for me, I wanted De Zerbi as well, but the fact is that we have to move on. We have to move on. All I'm saying is that I probably would have had the same principles for De Zerbi as well. Even if I had De Zerbi, I would have said for the first time ever, we have to keep backing De Zerbi. We cannot chop and change anymore. And similarly, I'm going to say that for Enzo Maresca because I feel like he has a set of philosophy for playing the, for his footballing style where we need to be patient. We need to be patient that it's going to come good. Valan, thank you so much for the super chat. Ineos already won a trophy ahead of Clear Lake. They're going to get De Zerbi when we are getting Pep's disciple. This season will show how bad we F up. Look, I hope it doesn't. Honestly, I'm tired of thinking that it's going to mess up. It's going to mess up for us. I'm tired of thinking that way. I have to now completely believe that it's going to work out because I'm sorry. We've so far, all we've done is we've failed. So far, under the new ownership, all we've done is failed. I'm sorry. If I keep believing that it's only going to be failure after failure after failure, then I'm honestly going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my mind. It is such a sad feeling moving into every game, like the first season under the new ownership, and also majority of last season. It's a sad feeling moving into every game thinking you're going to lose. Imagine moving into a new season and I'm going to expect that we're going to fail gargantually. I can't expect that. I'm sorry. But at the same time, I'm not expecting top 4 either. I'm not going to go out there and say it's a top 4 or nothing. I'm sorry, I can't. It's an inexperienced team with an inexperienced manager at this level. I can't just go out there and go top 4 or nothing. And what benefit does it do to me saying, oh, if Enzo Maresca doesn't get top four, then the sporting director's got to go. Whoop-de-doo. Okay, let's say the sporting directors go. We still need this manager to turn good for us. That's the big point here. You can take away the sporting directors, no problems. But this manager has to go good for us. We have to hope for one big thing for next season. One big thing is that we don't fail massively. That's one of the biggest things that we have to hope, that we do not fail massively. Because if we fail massively, it's over. It's finito. It's khalas. So if you as a fan sitting there and banking on the fact that we are going to fail massively, then well, why even looking forward to next season? Why are you even looking forward to next season? So I'm not banking on for us to fail massively next season. What I am banking for at least a top 6 finish, at least. New manager, players need to build the trust on this new manager. The new manager needs to build the trust on these players. Players need to play a different type of football as to what they were playing last season. And we got to slowly build. If you're asking for too much, you're only going to get yourself hurt in the process. I'm telling you right now, you're only going to get yourself hurt in the process. And if you're hoping for it to fail gargantually, then I'm sorry, you're going to be very, very miserable moving into next season. You're going to be very, very miserable. Shaky, thank you so much for the super chat. If he stayed in Leicester, oh, okay. If Enzo Maresca stayed in Leicester, I don't know, maybe a top 10 finish? Leicester's got a half decent team, you know. Perhaps a top 10 finish. I think that probably would have been something Enzo Maresca would have gone for. Valan, thank you so much for the super chat. The reason why I have not given up on supporting Chelsea is because I started a YouTube channel. Gonna ride the pain with you lot. Let's make stories. Yeah, look, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not subscribed to Valan's channel, make sure you guys are subscribed to Valan's channel. He's just started things off. Give him some support and love, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's see what you guys are saying in the live chat. Andrew is saying we are set to fail, Miz. I don't know, man. I don't think we are set to fail. I think this manager has something. I truly do think this manager has something. I'm not going to pretend that I know this manager completely. No, I don't. But what I do know is that he has a set of philosophy that is control-based football. Do you know what I mean? Far more one-touch play. He's going to make our players better. So I don't think we are set to fail, but I don't think we are set to succeed from the get-go either. It will be potentially a season where there will be some heartaches. There will be some heartaches, and we may not get Champions League football. But I'm hoping there is some level of respectability with at least a top 6 finish. And then you build with this manager. Ashraf Miz, can you explain how Ange made Spurs top 5 in his first season with such philosophy? Look, I actually know a little bit of Ange's history because obviously he's Australian. Ange has done some crazy stuff. Like, he's achieved some big things, man. Yeah, sure, lower leagues, but for instance, in the A-League with Brisbane Roars, I think, they were a nobody team, and he turned that into a really, really good team and won the Australian League here, right? As I said, it's a no league, but you need to understand what he's done in terms of achievement with teams that were nobodies. Then I think he went to Japan and he took a team in the J League that was ninth. He took a team that was in J League that was ninth, and when he took them over the following season, I think he made them champions of J League. And J League, it Japan produces a lot of quality good players. Like J League, you can laugh as much as you want. It's an okayish league. Yes, Ange won Australian Asian Cup when they were underdogs. Exactly. Asian Cup is not some sort of a simple feat with the team that he's won it with. Then he went to, I believe he went to Celtic after J League. And he's done his job at Celtic as well. So Ange is not some sort of an inexperienced young manager. Like he's been around. Ange has managed Australian national team as well. So Ange has been around and he knows. And on top of that, when he came to the Premier League, he had a Spurs team that had quite a few experienced players as well. It wasn't all just kids. In fact, I don't even think there is any kids in the Spurs team. So that kind of helped him out. There's a lot of things that helped him out. And his ability to get the players to buy into his philosophy. This is why I'm saying this is why it's very important. When Enzo Maresca steps in from day one, he needs to get majority of the players to believe in him. But that's on Enzo Maresca as well. Enzo needs to be showing that his plan has merit. Enzo Maresca needs to show confidence when he's speaking to these players in regards to how we're going to play. So all of these things matter. And if he's able to do that, if Enzo Maresca is able to get the players buy-in from the get-go, I'm pretty certain we will have a good season. But if Enzo Maresca comes in and he's not able to get all the players to buy into him immediately, there will be shaky moments. And he will need to work on those players. Some of these players will need to buy into his tactics. Some of these players will need to buy into his training methods. All of these things matter, man. They do matter a lot. Oratagu is saying, make it make sense. We got sixth with Poch. He would have built on that if given the chance. And we have now gone 10 steps back. Can't be asked. Yeah, look. This is why I was somewhat skeptical when we let go of Poch, thinking, well, what are we going to do now? Do you know what I mean? Like, are we going to bring in someone who is far superior to Poch so that we can take this group and move forward? Or are we going to bring in someone a little bit more inexperienced, which in this case it is, albeit better brand of football, better philosophy, of course, but he is inexperienced. You know, Poch, at least, whether we like it or not, the football wasn't great all the time, but these players believed in Poch, you know. Whether we like it or not, whether this live chat disagrees or not, these players believed in Poch. That says something. So similarly, the players will need to believe in Enzo Maresca. And if they don't believe in him, I'm telling you, we're dead. Then we're dead. So that's the problem. I just felt that if you're going to get rid of Poch, get in someone far more experienced so that we can kick on and the players can feel confidence that, all right, we're moving forward. But on top of that, I don't think they just got rid of Poch. I think Poch didn't agree to be with them as well. I don't think it's a one-way street. We need to understand that it's not a one-way street. Poch wanted to bounce as well. Poch wanted to bounce as well. He didn't believe. He didn't believe in this project. We have to understand that. Once a manager doesn't believe in the project, well, you can't hold a gun to his head and say, no, you must stay. You must stay. No, you can't. You have to let them go. You have to let them go. Harpazo, I really don't think the kids will find any problem with most of the squad buying into Maresca's philosophy. The problem is going to be disgruntled fans who expect immediate success. Wow, that's a good point. That's a very, very good point, Harpazo. And I guess here's a message for those disgruntled fans. As I have started the show by saying, more than ever, ladies and gentlemen, more than ever, all the times that we have laughed at the phrase, trust the process. We have laughed at the phrase, stay patient. All of these P words. More than ever, you are going to have to accept this. This time you will have to stay patient. You will have to trust the process. You just have to. We may start the season off, for argument's sake, we may start the season off with 2 losses or 3 losses on the bounce. The match-going fans will have to stay patient. You cannot be asking for this manager to be chopped as well. You cannot. This is what I'm trying to say. All of these expectation talk that we're doing. What expectation talk? We've got inexperienced players and we've got an inexperienced manager. And we are hoping that it all connects. Because we feel that inexperienced players are talented and we feel the inexperienced manager is talented. But it is a hope still. It is not a concrete situation. And the owners and the sporting directors have put all their chips in these 2 components coming together. You cannot be disgruntled. Fans, honestly, the match-going fans, you cannot be disgruntled. Now, I'm not saying you can't be critical, you can't express your opinions. Of course you can, but you cannot be screaming. I still remember Sarri season. This will honestly be similar to that Sarri season, if you guys remember. I don't know how many of you guys followed me. I first entered the Twitter sphere in Sarri season. I didn't really like Sarri in the first few matches, I didn't understand him. I was very critical. But as the season progressed, and by the time the season finished, I honestly fell in love with Sarri so much that it broke me a little bit that he was leaving. It broke me. Because I honestly felt by the end of the season, the way we were playing our football, if he carried on with us for another few more seasons, I'm pretty certain we would have had a Premier League in our bag. I'm pretty certain we would have had a Premier League in our bag. But he left. He left. Sarri felt homesick. He left. He left. It could be the same thing with Enzo Maresca, where it may take a bit of time. It may take a bit of time for everything to click. It may not as well. It may just click into gears because these players are talented. Not to say that the players that we had under Sarri weren't talented. They were very talented as well. What I'm saying is, if it doesn't click from the get-go, you cannot be upset. You cannot. You can be critical. You cannot be upset and you cannot ask for the manager to be sacked. You cannot ask for the sporting directors to just leave. It's not going to happen. It's not realistic. And it could go the other way. It could start fantastically. And then midway through, it could go through a bit of a phase where you potentially have some negative results. Leicester went through the same thing. Leicester went flying. Leicester were flying, you know. Leicester had a large gap between themselves and second and third. And that gap was quickly minimalized. And it almost looked like Leicester were going to bottle it at the end. It almost looked like Leicester was going to bottle it. But he finally got over it. So we have to stay patient. We have to stay patient. Nicolini is saying, what happened to Miz? Well, what do you want me to be? What want me to be? Some sort of fake artist here and just act all angry, put on a fake rant, put on a fake face just to please the audience? No, I'm actually here to let the audience know more than ever, you will have to accept. More than ever, you will have to accept and appreciate this appointment. We don't want to go through any more chopping and changing. I believe for the first time, we have got a particular manager that has a set of footballing principle, footballing philosophy that you can back. You're gonna have to back. You're gonna have to back this manager, and you're gonna have to be patient. I know I will be. I know I will be. I've already set my marker. If Enzo Maresca can finish in the top 6, I think that's good enough. That's good enough for the first season. And anything above that is an overachievement, and that's fantastic. Anything below top 6 in the likes of 7th, 8th, we have to see what happened for us to be 7th or 6th. And anything, 7th or 8th. And anything below from 8th, like 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, then we need to really seriously question, is this manager the right manager? Because our squad, regardless of who the manager is, should not be in those levels. It should not be in those levels. But what I'm not going to do is come out and openly say, oh, it's a top 4 or you're out of here. No, I'm sorry. No chance. No chance whatsoever. Because that for me would be ludicrous. Aka, I agree with you, but I will not change my mind that top 4 is a must and a bare minimum requirement because the squad can do it. It's not about the manager. The players are top 4 quality. Okay, well, I want to ask you guys, if you don't get top 4, then what do you do? Because if your answer is we need to change the manager again, I'm sorry. You're crazy. You are crazy. You are crazy. So, from a logical standpoint, tell me, if we don't make top 4, what do you do? What do you do? And don't give me your answer, or the director's got to go. The director's going does diddly squad. Honestly, the director's going does diddly squad to us as fans. Sure, get rid of the directors. I don't believe in these directors anyway. Happy to be proven wrong. But them leaving does nothing for the team or the manager. At the end of the day, the manager is what we need to believe in, and the players hopefully can deliver under this manager. So you let me know, what would you do if we don't get top 4? What is your plan? What is your plan? Valentine, thank you so much for the super chat. I hope his press are at least engaging. I've never heard this man speak, so it'll be the first time I'll get to hear him, I suppose. Slim BT, it's crazy to expect Maresca to get top 4 when he's got no absolute experience in the Premier League. Yeah, that's how I look at it. If he does get top 4, that would be sensational. That will be brilliant. But I'm not gonna put it against the manager if he's unable to get top 4. He's never done it. He's never done this. Gallagher is moving to Manchester United. Poch is going there. Poch is going to be Manchester United new manager. Yeah, happy days. I don't really care what Poch does from here on in. That's none of my business. Whatever job he can land, and if he wants to take Gallagher, well, so be it. By the end of the season, Gallagher did improve, but overall, I think there is still limitation with Gallagher. So I'm not going to lose sleep if Gallagher leaves as well. And at the end of the day, he's going to have to leave anyway because of pure profit, and we need to balance our books. Trapattoni, at this point, if us getting relegated will force these dumb owners to change their model or force them to sell the club, I'm all up for it. Wow. Birmingham fans also did the same thing too. I don't think we're going to get relegated. I don't think we're going to. So, as if you want the manager, if you want the owners gone and you want the sporting directors gone, we don't need to be so drastic that we need to get relegated for this to happen. Like, there has to be other ways. We don't need the team to be relegated. Paul Winstonley, big up to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Means if you're gonna finish below top 4, then an FA Cup win becomes a mandatory. See, all of these stipulations, I'm happy for you guys to have these stipulations and have these conditions. But what I'm trying to say is that if these stipulations are not met, what are you going to do about it? Paul Winstonley, I'm asking you. If we don't finish top 4, then an FA Cup win becomes mandatory. What if we don't finish top 4 and we don't win the FA Cup? What are you going to do then? What are you going to do then? What I'm trying to say to you guys is that what is with all of these conditions? This needs to happen. That needs to happen. If this doesn't, what are you going to do? What are you going to do if this and that don't happen? What are you actually going to do? Sack the manager. Sack the manager, sack the sporting directors, start fresh again. Start fresh again. Aka saying sack, then sack him with the directors. You guys will learn. You will learn. Just the way I'm having to learn, just the way I'm having to accept, and just the way I now finally see that the only way going back to the top is patience. That's the only way to go back to the top. That's the only way to go back to the top. There is no other there's no shortcut here anymore. We thought maybe there was a shortcut. There is no shortcut. I'm sorry. There is no more shortcut because already under this new ownership, we've chopped and changed so much. And where has it led us? Where has it led us? Where has it led us? It's led us nowhere. 2 seasons gone by, and we're nowhere near anything. So you think the right thing to do is, if we don't get top 4, we don't get an FA Cup, is to chop the manager and the directors, get rid of everything and start all over again? Are you out of your mind? You will learn. You will learn. You cannot just keep doing this. You cannot. Especially when finally you probably got a manager that has some level of footballing IQ. As I said, I would have said the same thing if Roberto De Zerbi was my guy. I wanted Roberto De Zerbi. I would have said the same thing if Roberto De Zerbi was here. But at least I would have been a little bit more confident that maybe we will get top 4 because Roberto De Zerbi has a bit more experience in this level. And he will have, I just have this faith I just had this faith. Obviously, now Roberto De Zerbi is not going to be the manager. I just had this faith that Roberto De Zerbi will be able to get the buy-in of the players. I just need to see that from Enzo Maresca. I just need to see that. But I believe he should be able to do that. Because if he's not, then we're in trouble. Cooper means we should focus on identity, style, and progress by players that failed this season. Results will come if we manage to get those. Yeah, 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. Yeah, we have to. We cannot misprofile players. We need to ensure that the right players are played at the right roles. I'm not even going to say right positions. Well, the position has to be right as well. It's going to be a lot of positional based football. So it's got to be right. Aka, hopefully I can join the next call in. I can only say so much on comments. Yeah, look, guys, straight after this, I've got playback. So I'm going to share the link with you guys and I'm going to pin it. So we're going to have a playback show, Firoz and I, and you guys are all invited. Over 500 of you guys are live right now. Every one of you guys come into playback. And if you want your chance to have a conversation, quick conversation, because obviously a lot of people will want to have their say, more than happy for you guys to come in and have your say and let it out. Let it all out how you feel about the situation. So join the playback. Join playback room right after this live stream. There you go. I've just put in the link in there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to pin it. It's been pinned. Every single one of you guys, straight after this stream is over, which is probably going to end very, very soon in the next few minutes, we're going to jump into playback and you guys have whatever you want to say. But my final piece on this whole situation is that I'm all in. I'm all in. I'm going to stay patient with this manager. I'm hoping for a top 6 finish. I'm hoping for a system to be embedded in, and I'm hoping to then progress from there. I am expecting heartaches. I'm expecting some bad results here and there, but I'm also expecting that the manager will be able to bounce us back and not have a disastrous season. I'm not expecting top 4. However, if top 4 does happen, I'll be elated, of course, but I'm not going to hold a gun on the manager who's never had any experience at this level to 100% deliver top 4 along with an inexperienced team. So I am going to trust the process. I will trust the process. I feel we all have to. This time, we all have to trust the process. There is no two ways about it. There is absolutely no two ways about it. This time, we cannot demand further chopping and changing. I'm sorry. Because if we end up in that situation, then the club has failed. Then the club has failed gargantually. And the club has failed gargantually. Texas Blue 24, they broke our guy. I may not be far away. And look, I'm not sure whether, to a certain level they have. To a certain level they have. Because this is not the way I would have run Chelsea Football Club. If it was to me, I wouldn't have got all of these young players. I would have had a balanced team. If it was up to me, I would not be going for Graham Potter and Maurizio Pochettino. I would be going for a top-level manager. And I'd make sure that I'm always in the conversation in top 4 and then fighting for the title and in the Champions League as well all the time. I would not have got rid of Thomas Tuchel. When I did, I felt that was definitely premature. And I definitely wouldn't have replaced Thomas Tuchel with Graham Potter. But I don't own Chelsea Football Club. So I have to work with what the owners are doing. And from what the owners are doing, this is what I have to now accept and hope that it all works out. And the angle that they're kind of taking, it may work out. It may work out. It may work out. Faisal Miz, you say no more chopping and changing, but then what would be the cut-off point for Enzo? Surely if we finish, let's say, 8th to 10th, that will warrant his sacking. I need top for him. Yeah. Then you are right. As I said, top 6 is, I think, the bare expectation. Anything above that is an overachievement for this manager. Anything from 7th, 8th max is we need to see what happened for you to be 7th and 8th. Anything below 8th, that would be an underachievement, a proper underachievement. That's when you're going to have to be like, well, what happened? The team should not have finished in those levels. So that's how I feel about that. That's how I feel about that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap things up. Make sure you guys are all there for the playback show. The playback show will literally start in about 7 minutes. Make sure you guys are all there. If you want to give your opinion, you want to voice your opinion, make sure you click on the link that is on the pinned message right now. Go to the playback, give your opinion. It's going to be a banging show. But before you do that, make sure you smash the like button here. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And I shall see you guys in the playback room along with Feroz. And let's hear what you guys all have to say. Until next time, everyone, take care. See ya. Bye.